Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. This is the first episode of Mysteries and Cryptids. Now, for a while, Josh and I have been telling you guys, hey, we got a podcast coming. We've got this website up, which is www.mysteriesandcryptids.com. Now, with Mysteries and Cryptids, we're bringing a bunch of different stuff to this. We're bringing true crime. We're bringing like World War II mysteries. We're bringing history, mysteries, missing persons, cryptids. We're bringing it all, you guys. We're bringing it all to you. And tonight, you guys, we have one of the most chilling, most horrific true crime cases, if not the most horrific true crime case in the state of Arkansas.
In Arkansas, investigators continue to look into one of the nation's worst cases of mass murder.
What's going on in somebody's mind when they're strangling their own children and grandchildren?
He was a decorated veteran, a quiet neighbor, and the deadliest mass murderer in Arkansas history. Tonight, we open the file on Ronald Gene Simmons.
So back to what I was saying was about Ronald Gene Simmons, a Vietnam decorated veteran who became the worst mass murderer in Arkansas history, and the man responsible for the deadliest familicide in U.S. history. This one happened in Pope County, and it hits close to home because Josh started his law enforcement career under Sheriff Jay Winters, one of the investigators who worked this case. So Ronald Gene Simmons, like I said earlier, was a decorated Vietnam veteran. He spent 22 years in the United States military. In November of 79, he retired at the age of 39 as a master sergeant. Now, he was started in the Navy and then worked his way, switched over to the Air Force. After a retirement, he moved his family from New Mexico, but things started to go downhill pretty quick. Authorities began investigating him for the R word, and I need another word for that because I don't think we can say that here either.
No, you can't.
So the R word, and then relations with a family member.
There you go.
Extremely serious accusations involving his own daughter. Rather than face these charges, Simmons, like the coward that he was, fled the state. He moved his entire family to Dover, Arkansas, to a 13-acre property in Pope County. 2 mobile homes, bolted together, surrounded by a high makeshift fence. There was no plumbing, no heating, no air conditioning, no telephone service. This was complete isolation. Now, it wasn't that he probably couldn't afford it. This was all done on purpose. He worked a few jobs in Russellville, included the Sinclair Mini Mart, starting in 1986. But then, just before Christmas of 1987, everything broke.
Guys, this, like he said, this case is extremely personal to me. And I don't, personal is maybe the wrong word, but very close to home. The sheriff that you guys saw in that video, Jay Winters, was a really good man. There's another guy named Ray Caldwell that I grew up under, learned a lot of investigation tips from. And so we talked about this case a lot. My sergeant actually was there when they brought him into the jail. Spent a lot of time with Ronald, what a monster he was. But it is to this day the deadliest case in Arkansas. But so Simmons quit his job at the Mini Mart on December the 18th. Now, guys, I'll tell you right now, like, this is some pretty gruesome details, and we're not in any way trying to be disrespectful to victims in any type of crime, but I think it's important that people know that this stuff goes on. And we both of our careers, so in case you don't know, I spent 17 years in law enforcement. Daniel also was in law enforcement. He spent a lot of time in the Air Force, and that's what he did in his career. So we have a lot of background with this stuff. So,
4 days later, December 22nd is when he started unaliving people. Here's what happened. He physically abused his wife, Bersabe, Rebecca Simmons, with a heavy object, and then unalived her. He did the same to his adult son, Ronald Gene Simmons Jr., who happened to be visiting at the time. He did the same thing to his 3-year-old granddaughter, Barbara. He then placed all 3 of them in a shallow pit that the family had dug earlier for an outhouse. Now, late that afternoon, a school bus dropped off the younger Simmons children. It was the last day before Christmas break. Becky, age 8, Mary Ann, age 11, Eddie, age 11, Loretta, age 17. And earlier that week, Becky had written a school essay. And it says, if you have parents to watch over you so you can be safe. Simmons separated the children one by one and then unalived them, each of them in what they say is a rain barrel. Their bodies were then placed in the outhouse pit. He had spent the night alone inside the home, waiting for the next round of family to arrive for Christmas.
That's pretty messed up. That is really, really messed up. This is obviously a very sick individual. Like, this is not normal human behavior to take out your family like that. And you think the story's over. I am telling you, this story is one of the strangest that I've personally ever heard. The Simmons family had invited relatives to visit for Christmas. On December the 26th, the first group arrived. William H. Simmons II, 23, his wife, Renita Mae Simmons, 21, their baby boy, William H. Simmons III, 20 months old. Simmons shot both adults in the dining room and covered their bodies with coats and blankets. Then he unalived the baby. I can't hardly read that. That's so hard. He unalived the baby and placed him in the trunk of the car on the property. Next, Sheila and Dennis McNulty, ages 24 and 33, arrived with their 2 children. Sylvia, age 7, Michael, 21 month. Simmons unalived both of the parents. He placed their bodies in the dining room table and covered them with tablecloth. Then he unalived, I can't even say the words, two children, placing Michael's body in the trunk of another car. After unaliving the second group of family members, Simmons drove to town to pick up Christmas gifts he had ordered from Sears. He then went to a private club, had drinks, returned home, where he spent the rest of the evening watching TV, drinking beer, while the bodies were still in the house. If you thought the story was over, it's not. It's not over at all. This part is just wild to me.
Okay, so on December 28th, on Monday the 28th, Simmons drove back to Russellville. He had bought a new sidearm at Walmart. He began targeting people he believed had wronged him. So here's a sequence. He went to the law firm and unalived the receptionist. He went to Taylor Oil Company, unalived one person, wounded another. Then he went to Sinclair Mini Mart, his former job, and wounded 2 more employees. Next, he went to Woodline Motor Freight Company, where he wounded his former supervisor. After the final act of violence, he held a woman hostage and told her to call the police. Now, what he said, I mean, you guys, this is where this lets you know that his elevator didn't go all the way to the top. He goes, you can tell him, I've come to do what I had to do. It's all over now. I've gotten everybody I wanted to hurt. I got everybody who wanted to hurt me. He put a sidearm down and calmly waited for the police to arrive. Now, after his arrest, authorities went to his property outside Dover, where they discovered all 14 family members hidden around the property and inside the home. The scene is what Sheriff Winters and deputies that Josh later worked under, they had to walk. This is what they walked into. They said they would never forget it. And when they talked about it, you could tell it was the kind of trauma that never leaves you. Simmons never provided a clear explanation as to why he did what he did. Investigators found clues. They found that his wife was planning to divorce him, and she was quietly saving money. His supervisor at Woodline, he had argued with him about pay. There was a letter in his safe deposit box showing that he was furious with his daughter for revealing that he was the father of her child. During the trial, when this letter was read out loud, Simmons stood up and punched the prosecutor in the face and tried to grab a deputy's sidearm. He was then removed from the court. Now, Simmons was convicted of 14 counts of capital murder. He waived all of his appeals, something which is extremely rare, and he insisted on being unalived himself by the hands of the state. So on June 25th, 1990, that's what happened, by lethal injection. He became one of the few death row prisoners who fought for his execution rather than against it.
So my sergeant, and I can't remember her name. She was there for a really long time. She said she was there the day they brought him in, the day he got arrested, and she was there the day they took him to execute him. They had to come back to the county or whatever, but she said she saw him that week as well. So she saw him at the very beginning and at the very end. Also, too, he was a very model inmate. Never gave him any problems. Never did anything. He just kept quiet, kept to himself. It's kind of a strange thing, but that case is the worst mass murder by a single individual in Arkansas history.
I'm never going to claim to even remotely understand, why someone would do this. I'm looking a lot of stuff that's going on in the chat, like, Ashes. He worked in Dover before. PJ, he said, I can't believe that actually happened, in Arkansas. I mean, it's crazy.
It's nuts. You don't know, every city, every state, we always would say every place in the world has a monster. You just don't know it yet. And that's the thing. Like, and once you see the side of life, like I've experienced it, you've experienced it. I've worked murder cases. Once you see the side of humanity, you guys want to know why I say what I say at the end of every episode on Mysteries Unknown, why I say stay prayed up. It's exactly for reasons like this. Like, listen, we talk about cryptids a lot on both of our channels, and cryptids can absolutely be scary. But I can tell you right now, people are way more scary than a cryptid can be.
I'd rather deal with Dogman or a rake or a skinwalker than another human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you can, at least if you look at a dog man, you can see the evil on the outside of it by its appearance. Human being, we get so used to seeing, we're human. And so you don't think about that, but you go work in corrections, you go spend any amount of time working in the correction system, you will see the worst of humanity on a daily basis. It completely changed me, how I look at the world. I know it had to change you. And so it's just, but it gives you a different perspective on life. But guys, if this is your first time here, this is a brand new channel. If you're wondering who this awesome guy over here to my left is, that is Dano from the Cryptid Podcast. He has an amazing podcast. I'm Josh from Mysteries Unknown. I've got a podcast all about Bigfoot, Dogman, cryptids, but we came together to create this channel because we wanted to talk about other types of mysteries, true crime stuff. We're still going to talk about cryptids, things like that. So
this is a new podcast. This is for both of us. This is not going to take away from Josh's show, Mysteries Unknown. It's not going to take away from my show. We're probably going to drop a new episode probably once a month. And we're really going to pretty much run the gambit of everything, you guys. We're going to do cryptids. We're going to do true crime. We're going to do unsolved mysteries. I've even thrown some ideas about covering stuff like about the Bermuda Triangle and things like that. I know I got tons of books about World War II. There's a lot of mysteries about World War II. So, if you guys have any ideas on what you'd like to hear, potentially see us cover, drop a comment, or when it posts, or send us an email, mysteriesencryptids@gmail.com. This is a hard subject for us to talk about. For me, it's really tough because I've looked at some of these guys in the eye, like face to face, about 4 to 6 inches away from people who have committed crimes like this and worse.
Yep.
And when you have children involved, that's when it really gets a lot harder for me to talk about.
It's tough. I'm the same way, man. It's hard to cope with that kind of stuff. And I know for me, like, I've been out of law enforcement, I think 9 years now. And there's still things that bother me. There's still aspects of that come back to haunt you. I can't tell you the amount of times I've laid in bed and then seen all these cases that you've worked and all these things that just never go away. Like, it never goes away. And a lot of the times, when you look at a police officer, somebody that's in law enforcement that is sacrificing their time with their family and putting themselves in these positions, you don't think about the effects that these things have on them. I know firsthand that the majority of people that worked that case got really sick. Jay Winters got really bad sick. He ended up dying from, I think he had cancer. I could be wrong, but this stuff does take a toll on you. So you just have to, stay prayed up. What's the comment say? I can't see it.
It says, this is from Victor. Victor says, this is honestly fire, boys. Everyone loves stories. The younger generation are going to need this. Too many stories go to the grave. And that's 100% true. And then we've got one of the subscribers to my channel, Dario, who's from Italy. He asks, where is this? Where has this happened? And I'm in Italy. I don't know the story. This happened in Dover, Arkansas, in the United States, back in 1987, right around Christmas time.
It's kind of a crazy story. It blows my mind the amount of people that don't know that this happened. Like, yes, I know it was a long time ago, but good grief, this was such a talked about thing in our community. And I can remember how much it shook my parents up. Like, it really, really took a toll on them. And you get to thinking, and I don't know if anybody else thinks this way. Maybe it's just because, the way what we grew up working in, Daniel, I don't know, but I think about this stuff all the time. I'm like, man, how many people have done this kind of stuff? Not to that degree, because you're going to get caught, but have done things and then just nobody ever knows. Like, I'll tell you another weird thing, man, that happened is before I was in law enforcement, I used to build fences. And in the same town, this story is kind of funny, but it's not. But so there was a guy that we built this fence for in Dover, Arkansas, of all places. And there was this, you'll know where I'm going with this. Across the backyard, there was this mound of dirt. And it had kind of looked like it was fairly new, and it was mounded up. And I remember the owner being very specific with us. Don't put the fence over that mound. Make sure it's on the other side of that. He come out of this house to make sure that we knew that, right? Bro, the dude had murdered his wife, buried her in the backyard in Dover, Arkansas. And when it rained, it flooded, and he put her in a 55-gallon tub, and it come up out of the ground, and that's how he got caught. What's weird about people who commit murder, and you can ask anybody who spent time working in a jail or had been to jail, most of the people who are what I would say inmates who do not give you trouble are murderers. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, if they're in there for murder, they're not going to give you issues. It's the people in there for petty crimes, the people in there for stupid stuff. Those are the ones that generally are going to give you fits. But the dude, I talked to him. I was like, hey man, I was in your backyard building your fence. He goes, yeah, I know. I lost my temper and I took a frying pan and hit. I don't know what else we can say on here. I don't want to get flagged or whatever.
Unalived her with
unalived
frying
her
pan.
with a frying pan because he lost his temper. And then he took her and put her in the backyard.
Mm.
Dover is a really strange place, guys. Like it's a really strange place. So another thing, and we're kind of getting all over the place, but in Dover, Arkansas, there's something called the Dover Lights. How many of you guys have heard of the Dover Lights? If you've heard of those, probably comment a topic for another day. But if you've heard of those, drop a comment below. Let me know. But yeah, it's just, we want to cover a lot of different topics. And that's why we've created this new channel so we could do that. My channel's not going anywhere. Every Monday, you're going to have a release. Daniel's channel's not going to go anywhere. And we will talk about cryptids on this channel. But some of these stories need to be heard. They need to be talked about. People need to know who your neighbors could be. I mean, it's important to know these things. So
you were talking about, inmates and things like that. There's two types of people in a prison that are confined there. You have inmates and you have convicts. Inmates are the guys who cause a ruckus, want to cause trouble, don't understand that, if you got any significant time, they just want to do their time.
Yep.
They have rules that, inmates follow when they're in there. It's not necessarily the state rules, not the institution rules. It's like jailhouse rules. But there was one inmate, and I'm not going to say his name, but he was on maximum security. I was working in a maximum security prison in Tennessee. And almost from day one, it was very, very... This inmate was very charismatic. He had a very, very, he had a lot of charisma, I should say. And I was going around doing count, and he was standing on his door like he's supposed to. Well, standing up. When you say standing on the door, that means they're standing up, looking out the window so you can count them. And he was very polite from the first day that I met him. And then the 2 years that I worked there, he was a model prisoner. He was a convict. He had life. He had 4 life sentences for the one person he unalived in the prison or outside the prison, and the 3 inmates that he unalived inside the prison. And he had this smile. Whenever you saw this smile, you knew something was about to happen, because he was mad about something or whatever. So you kind of gave him that wide berth. But still, he told me one time, he goes, "Oh, officer, you don't have nothing to worry about." He goes, "I'd never harm any of you guys because I know this is just your job. But these other people around here, they all have numbers, and their number is going to be up if they cross my path or something like that." And I was like, "Whoa," because he was very serious when he said it. But again, this makes me think about how this guy was. Like you said, he was a model inmate up until the time, that it was his due date. His due date expired.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. Like there is two different codes. Like there is like the rules that we established, but then there's the prison rules that they establish. And I mean, they would keep them in check. Like they would definitely enforce their own rules is a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. And it's a different world. And if you've never seen it, it's such a foreign thing to people.
If this is something more, you want to see more of this, if you guys have ideas of things you'd like for us to cover, again, we're definitely gonna stay with what got us to the show, so to speak. But there's so many other things that we want to talk about, and that we want to bring to light to people. And like me, I don't know about you guys, I love World War II history. I love Vietnam history. I like Korean War history. I like stories that surround the Bermuda Triangle and things like that. So, I plan on trying to bring things to light like that. Now, when it comes to true crime, that's Josh's wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're definitely going to talk cryptids. We're definitely going to talk different mysteries, and I don't know that we'll do true crime very often. We just wanted to do something different to start this thing off, and thought this was a good place. And since I was kind of familiar with it, but we don't have a call-off sign. We don't have whatever, but I will say, because I'm just going to use it because, I think you can use it in multiple places. We'll have to figure out a sign off, but mine's always going to be just, I'm going to say it. It's the best thing you can do. Stay prayed up, guys.
And
so very important.
And also, before we get out of here, guys, if you guys have had an encounter, you'd like to come on my show, there I am, the cryptopodcast72@gmail.com. If you want to come on to Josh's show, there he is, mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to come on this show, potentially as a guest, or if you have an idea for an episode, shoot us an email at mysteriesencryptids@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the site, mysteriesencryptids.com. Again, like Josh said, you know what you guys need to do. And I always like to say, you guys remember, a legend always begins with a sighting.
See you guys next time.
I'm in position.
Cold case shadows and never left the town. Mother still praying her child is found. Wolves in the woods with a man's broken stare. Hearts pounding in the dark. No one else was there.